This is a purely human-powered Bumblebee mech. Weighing 25 kilograms and standing 2.5 meters tall after every performance, it is disassembled into a pile of parts and forcefully crammed into the trunk of a standard sedan.
对，今天湿透干透已经是8次了。
Beneath this cold, formidable steel exoskeleton is a weary soul, 40-year-old military veteran, Peter. He carries a crushing debt of over 1 million yuan, with 3 young daughters relying on him back home. While physical exhaustion and the heavy burden of livelihood have never broken this tough guy, it is his crumbling marriage that truly drags him into an endless abyss.
我悲伤的源泉都在我媳妇儿这儿。我一说我的想法，他就说我的想法不对。
How did he end up 1 million yuan in debt? How much can this heavy mech earn him in a day? And what is happening to his family? Today, we follow Peter from dawn to dusk to witness his raw reality.
OK。
Crammed to the brim with performance props and an entire mech suit, it is hard to believe that this small sedan can somehow still find room for 2 little girls.
这是俩闺女。
对，老三已经送到我爸妈那儿了。
老三多大了
2岁半。
那大女儿呢
？10岁了。
At 37, Peter is raising 3 daughters. His age puts him right on the dividing line of traditional Chinese values, where the obsession with carrying on the family line still runs deep. Even in tight financial straits and under crushing pressure, many feel compelled to keep having children until a son is finally born.
陌生人不要开门啊！然后中午吃饭的时候，你带妹妹去找奶奶吃饭，吃完饭你们还可以回去，好不好？好。
This is Peter's home. Within these walls, however, his wife vehemently objects to him bringing any friends over, even going as far as to restrict his normal social life outside.
我挺喜欢交友的，但是他特别反对我交友，不让我在外面交他反对的朋友，得经过他的同意，他同意的人才可以。
The original intention behind this film was to use the internet to promote Peter's mech performances and help him secure more bookings. However, when his wife returned home that day and learned of our presence from their daughter, everything shifted. Consequently, this footage can no longer be released on the Chinese internet.
中午啊，你又跟他一说跟他说完之后开始不跟我说话。这几天我都跟他沟通这个事儿，跟他说，他说这2、3个月，那就按照法律程序，他说以后分开就行了。
什么按照法律程序要跟你离婚吗？
对，他说发视频，还有带陌生人，然后还有。 按戒烟不戒烟，其他乱七八糟的一些东西，然后就，小心点，乖啊！我们走了啊，再见，拜拜。
叔叔再见。
拜拜，下次见。好嘞。哎呦，刚才你小女儿咋坐下的？他俩
就挤着。
Beyond the massive mech suit, the car is packed with speakers and giveaway gifts. While cramming his entire livelihood into this small sedan, Peter somehow miraculously managed to clear a seat for me.
这是我写的歌。
The relentless pressure of daily survival and the suffocating weight of his home life had nowhere to escape. Bound together, these emotions drove Peter to channel his struggles into a song, co-created with AI. As the melody filled the cramped cabin, he pulled over to the side of the road, sitting in silence to listen to the lyrics that laid bare his innermost thoughts.
我听着心底的声音，在深夜里敲打着我的窗棂。理想与现实的差距，想把灯刀慢慢切割着我的憧憬，就让我放声歌唱，冲破这世俗的墙。就算没人能懂我的疯狂，也要飞向那边辽阔的远方。关掉冷眼嘲笑的目光，我有我的翅膀，在歌声里自由翱翔。这是我无声的反抗。
这是我写的歌，
词儿是你写的呀？这是你在什么时候创作的？
就是发自己露脸出镜的视频，然后我媳妇儿说太傻，然后不让我拍了，然后我心里我就很 心里很难受，然后我就写了这首歌。
这首歌给你媳妇儿听过吗？
没有，她说我们俩世界观不一样，然后聊不到一块儿。她就说你老老实实上个班，叫平平凡凡一辈子就行了。如果说作为一个男人，一个家庭的顶梁柱，你不去奋斗，你不去就是为了更好的生活和理想去奋斗的话，你就光靠上班的话，你这一辈子，我感觉就完了。时间充足。
Peter has always been desperate to break out of the invisible cage. His stable state-owned enterprise job, which pays a mere $400 a month. It provides security, yet keeps him locked in a cycle of poverty. He constantly explores new entrepreneurial ventures, but his wife remains firm. He must keep his steady job. Mecca performing on weekends is one of the few ventures she allows him to pursue. This is the venue for Peter's first performance of the day, a high-end restaurant hosting a baby's birthday party later. Having previously suffered a severe fall, Peter takes no chances during prep. He puts on just the legs of the mech suit to meticulously test the height of the steps.
之前穿这个有摔着过没？
摔住，那个我干了8年，摔了6、7次。
摔的时候咋处理呀？
摔了就受伤了，你起来接着搞呗，搞完回去上药呗。
Thanks to his background in the military, Peter's sheer physical conditioning gives him the strength to shoulder this heavy armor. The banquet is a grand, lavish affair. The baby's parents have not only booked the hardcore mech, but also traditional Chinese instrumental performances and a clown to liven up the atmosphere. This is just the first segment of the event, welcoming the guests. After a continuous stream of photo ops and shutter clicks, the welcoming draws to a close, and the banquet's main performance officially begins. In ancient China, the music and dance that grace banquets were privileges exclusive to the imperial court. Today, these custom traditions have long woven themselves into the ordinary, easily accessible to China's rising middle class. Yet, traditional art salons are no longer enough to showcase status. To elevate the grandeur of the event, Western clowning, and even a sci-fi Bumblebee, mech have been stitched together into this modern-day feast.
我先自我介绍一下 ，My name is Bumblebee. I'm from the Philippines.
From welcoming and performing to finally seeing off the guests, the entire process lasts a grueling 4 hours. This 4-hour stretch of intense labor earns Peter $150, and yet this is only his first gig of the day.
你去帮忙把我那个衣服拿过来吧，我上衣钥匙在那里边，顺便把我音响拉过来。
中，
好，
中。
去吧。
With no time to even grab a warm lunch, Peter rushes behind the wheel, speeding toward his next gig. On paper, the combined income from his main job and weekend hustle should have secured a highly comfortable, happy life for his family. Yet, the crushing weight of a $150,000 debt acts like a whip, forcing him to relentlessly fight for survival. As for how he lost such a massive sum, the story traces back a decade ago, right when he was discharged from the military.
退伍之后创业嘛，创业开店，开奶茶店。那个时候退伍也就8万块钱，全部都投进去了。后来我们生意特别好就开了好几家，因为那小品牌他们用的料也不健康，我感觉有点坏良心。我自己就去买纯牛奶，买水果，成本特别高，所以说几乎不赚钱。
Peter is a man of profound kindness. Cruelly, however, each of his 2 or 3 entrepreneurial ventures collapsed precisely because of his own conscience. Within just 2 or 3 short years, instead of making a fortune, he was plunged into a debt abyss of over $100,000. It wasn't until a chance encounter introduced him to the world of mech performance, a gig he has now held on to for 8 long years.
那你是什么机缘巧合接触到这个？
我战友就在北京的时候，我有一个老班长，然后我给他交了1万块钱的学费。他当时他卖装备嘛，就是
就这条腿就是从他那里买的。他卖我2.4万，我说太贵了。他说咱这关系比较好，18000块钱一套。然后他卖我1.8万。
哎，那现在还从他那儿买吗？
肯定现在都自己买了。我自己买，现在买可便宜了。5500都买了，5000块钱都买了。
有渠道了。
对。
This afternoon, Peter faces a grueling test of endurance. Every hour, he must gear up for a 20-minute parade to draw crowds for the shopping mall. Inside this 2.5-meter-tall, human-powered mechanical beast, every step, every wave, and every movement forces his primary weight, bearing joints to grind against raw metal, bearing the full brunt of the friction.
所以说嘛，一般人对，而且昨天我每一场都是30分钟。
Even more agonizing is the suffocating trap within the airtight suit, where every breath becomes a battle. Even in the dead of winter, his clothes are repeatedly soaked through with sweat, dried by body heat, and soaked again. In the scorching summer, the sweat runs down his body so heavily it literally fills his shoes. From Monday to Friday, he clocks in at a state-owned enterprise. On Saturdays and Sundays, he transforms into a steel giant to hustle. For 8 long years, he has run like a perpetual motion machine with virtually zero rest, violently tearing and switching between his 2 polarized identities, a corporate employee and a hardcore mech performer.
这处应该有掌声，掌声在哪里啊？来，这边是这边掌声，哪边掌声我哪边扔奖品，快点！哪边的掌声最热烈，奖品发到哪里？The
performance is finally over. Desperate to head back as quickly as possible, Peter doesn't even have time to disassemble the suit and carry it piece by piece. Instead, under the bewildered stares of onlookers, he walks straight to the parking lot fully geared up, driven by a single goal to make it home before his wife does. But on the frantic drive back, the very thing he dreaded most happens anyway.
那他啥都不支持我。
左右侧3车道排队。
难呐。他照顾家里还可以，但是事业上没有帮助。他甚至会给我设置一道坎儿。
那你没有好好的就是讲一下你的这个处境吗？
他不认可我观点，我们谈不到一块儿去。
你得表达你干这个的这个状态，你看有多累。
他不管那么多，他就说只要我给他钱就行。唉，这首歌就是介于不让我露脸拍AI 视频创作，然后我心里委屈才写下这首歌。
你俩没好好谈谈吗？
谈不拢。这首歌。
我是困在鸽子间的牢笼里，灵魂在咆哮，身体却沉默，像困兽在原地打转，无处逃离。就让我放声歌唱，冲破这世俗的墙，就算没人能懂我的疯狂，也要飞向那片辽阔的远方。关掉冷眼嘲笑的目光，我有我的翅膀，在歌声里自由翱翔。
我在外面再苦再累无所谓，但是家里人不支持我，是我内心最难逾越的坎。
请提前走左侧2。
On the bumpy ride back, Peter unloaded everything to the camera. He tore open his soul, pouring out the profound despair of a man who had fought with every ounce of his being against mediocrity, only to be utterly trapped by his marriage and reality. It was the most powerful, raw moment of the entire film. Yet, out of protection for a father and his children, we ultimately chose to permanently erase this bleeding, tearful outcry from the final cut.
哎呀，很高兴认识你啊，辉哥。
很高兴认识你。
希望你以后生活越来越好，希望你跟你老婆的关系能够好一点。
啊，行，
把问题解决掉。
对，这个夫妻俩的关系全部靠男人来化解。
哎呀，加油，辉哥！
加油！
希望你越来越好哈。
一